She could feel her heart slowing. Not like a human heart, but something deeper, older. Something that carried the weight of an entire species. Each pulse was weaker than the last, fading into the cold emptiness around her. The planet did not care. It had never cared. There was no wind to carry her final breath. No sound to witness her end. Just endless gray stone beneath her fragile body, and a sky so empty it felt like the universe itself had turned away. She had been left here to die. Not because she was weak, but because she was too powerful. Her glowing violet eyes flickered open one last time. And in the distance, she saw movement. A shadow. Walking. Alive. Elias Vance had learned something important about space. It didn't forgive mistakes. Not big ones. Not small ones. And definitely not his. His cargo ship, the Drifter, was never meant to land on a planet like this. It was built for hauling supplies between colonies, not surviving storms that could rip through reinforced hulls like paper. But the storm had come anyway. Fast. Violent. Unpredictable. By the time Elias realized what was happening, it was already too late. Systems failed one by one. Navigation lost. Engines stalling. And then, impact. Hard. Brutal. Final. Now, 3 days later, Elias stood outside his broken ship, staring across a world that felt more like a grave than a planet. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. Even the air felt wrong. Too still. Too quiet. He adjusted his suit and checked the scanner again. Still nothing. No life. No signals. Just endless emptiness. Great, he muttered. Stranded on the one place in the galaxy nobody wants. He started walking anyway, because staying still meant giving up. And Elias Vance wasn't ready for that. Not yet. The scanner beeped. Just once. Soft. Uncertain. Elias froze. He stared down at the device. No way. He tapped it. The signal flickered. Weak. Barely there. But real. Something alive. Out here. His heart began to race. He turned slowly, scanning the horizon. There's no way, he whispered. Not here. But the signal pulsed again. Faint. Dying. Elias followed it. Step by step. Across cracked stone and jagged terrain. Until he saw her. At first, she didn't look real. Too still. Too perfect. Like something carved from light and glass. Her body lay broken between rocks. Pale silver skin fractured with glowing lines. Dark, shimmering blood spread beneath her, staining the lifeless ground. Elias stepped closer. Slowly. Carefully. Hey, he called out. Can you hear me? No response. He crouched beside her. And then, her chest moved. A weak breath. Alive. Okay, he said quickly. Stay with me. Her eyes opened. Glowing violet. Locking onto his. Fear. Pain. And something else. Please, she whispered. Don't. Let them find me. Elias blinked. Them? Who? But her head rolled to the side. Unconscious. Elias looked around. The empty planet suddenly didn't feel so empty anymore. He had a choice. Walk away. And survive a little longer. Or help her. And risk everything. He exhaled slowly. Yeah, he said. Like I was gonna leave you. He lifted her gently into his arms. And turned back toward the ship. The moment he brought her inside, things started to go wrong. Lights flickered. Systems glitched. The ship let out a low, uneasy hum. Elias frowned. That's new. He laid her down on the med table and activated the scanner. The readings made no sense. Her vitals spiked, then dropped, then spiked again. Energy surged through her body in waves. Okay, you're definitely not human. He worked quickly, cleaning her wounds and sealing what he could. The glowing cracks in her skin pulsed under his hands. Warm. Alive. And somehow, reacting to him. "Come on," he muttered. "Don't die on me now." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, her entire body lit up. A sudden flash of violet light. The ship system surged, then stabilized. Elias stumbled back. "What are you?" Her breathing steadied. Just barely. But enough. Enough to keep her alive. Elias sat down beside her. Watching. Waiting. Realizing, slowly, that he hadn't just rescued someone. He had brought something impossible onto his ship. She woke up in silence. Slowly. Carefully. Elias noticed immediately. "Hey," he said softly. "Easy, you're safe." Her eyes opened. Violet light flickering. She looked around, confused. Then at him. "You," she said weakly. "You brought me here." "Yeah," he replied. "Didn't feel right leaving you out there." She tried to sit up, but winced in pain. "Not a good idea," Elias said. "You're still healing." She studied him. Long. Carefully. "Why?" she asked. Elias blinked. "Why what? Why would you help me?" He leaned back, thinking. Then shrugged. "Because you needed it." She frowned slightly. "That is not a reason. It is where I come from." Silence. Then. "My name is Lyra," she said quietly. "Elias." Another pause. She looked at him again. Something in her expression had changed. Not fear. Not entirely. Curiosity. Days passed. And something unexpected happened. Lyra began to heal. Faster than anything Elias had ever seen. Her wounds closed. Her strength returned. And the glow beneath her skin grew steadier. They talked more. Small things. Simple things. Elias told her about Earth. About oceans and storms and cities full of noise. Lyra listened like it was a story from another universe. "My world is not like that," she said one night. "What's it like?" She hesitated. "It was beautiful." Elias caught the word. "Was." Her gaze dropped. "They destroyed it." He didn't ask more. He didn't need to. Twist. The alarm shattered the silence. Unknown vessels approaching. Elias shot up from his seat. What now? He rushed to the controls. And saw them. Ships. Dozens of them. Closing in fast. Military. He swore under his breath. "Lyra, you want to explain why we've got an army heading straight for us?" She stood behind him. Quiet. Still. "They found me." Elias turned. "Who are they?" Her eyes darkened. "The ones who tried to kill me." A cold weight settled in his chest. "How many are we talking?" "Enough to erase this planet." Elias let out a breath. "Great. Fantastic." He looked at her. "All right. We need a plan." "There is no plan," she said softly. He frowned. "Then we make one." She stepped closer. Her glow intensifying. "You still do not understand." "Then tell me." A long pause. Then. "I am not just one of my people." Elias waited. "I am their queen." Silence. "Oh," Elias said. He rubbed his face. "Of course you are." Her eyes burned brighter. "If they capture me, they will use me to destroy everything." "And if they don't, they will destroy everything anyway." Elias nodded slowly. "Right. No pressure." The first strike hit seconds later. The ship shook violently. Shields at 30%. Elias gripped the controls. "Okay, that's not ideal." Lyra stepped forward. Her entire body glowing now. "They fear me." "Good. But I have never fully awakened." Elias glanced at her. "What does that mean?" "It means," she said quietly, I may not survive it. Another blast. The ship groaned. Time was running out. Elias made a decision. No. She turned to him. You will die if I do nothing. And you might die if you do, he shot back. So let's find another way. There is no other way. Then we make one, he said firmly. She stared at him. Conflicted. You would risk everything, for me? Elias met her gaze. Yeah, he said. That's kind of what humans do. Something changed in her expression. Trust. Real, undeniable trust. The ships moved in for the kill. Weapons charging. No escape. Elias powered everything he had left. If we're going down, he said, we're going loud. Lyra stepped beside him. Her hand brushed his. Warm. Steady. Elias. Yeah. Thank you. Then she stepped forward. And everything changed. Light exploded from her body. Not just bright. Endless. The ship trembled as reality itself seemed to bend. Outside, the enemy fleet hesitated. Lyra rose into the air. Her form expanding. Becoming something vast. Ancient. Terrifying. Her voice echoed across space. I will not be hunted, again. The fleet fired. It didn't matter. The light consumed everything. Ships. Weapons. Fear itself. Gone. In an instant. Resolution. Silence returned. The fleet was gone. Elias stepped outside, heart pounding. Lyra. Nothing. Then. A shape fell from the sky. He ran. Caught her just in time. She was weak. Barely conscious. But alive. You stayed, she whispered. Yeah, he said. I did. A faint smile touched her lips. Humans. Elias chuckled softly. Yeah. We're a little stubborn. Ending. Days later, help finally came. Elias stood beside Lyra at the edge of the landing zone. You'll go back, he asked. She nodded. My people need me. And you'll be okay? She looked at him. I am, because of you. He smiled. That's good. She stepped closer. Touched his hand. Because of you, she said softly. I chose to live, not as a weapon, but as a queen. Elias nodded. Good choice. Light began to surround her. Soft. Warm. Goodbye, Elias. Goodbye, Lyra. And just like that, she was gone. Elias stood there, staring at the sky, on a planet that no longer felt so empty. Because sometimes, all it takes is one human, to remind even a queen, how to live.